Yoshi Valley. Okay, so this track is kind of interesting because it's tied for being both the most interesting track in the game and also the least interesting track in the game. So before we get started on this whole thing, I do want to address the outsides of this track, around the edges. Very empty, very barren, not a whole lot going on here. Even on the inside of the fence, there's only a handful of trees, and that's kind of it. Obviously, the trees are all billboarded, and I think another unique sprite for trees, just because this game didn't have enough of those. Also, getting this out of the way as well, there's virtually nothing in any of these valleys. When you actually go down here, there's nothing really interesting to find, unfortunately. It's kind of cool just to be able to hang out, but there's nothing super interesting to see. Also, on the tops of these little canyons, or top of these little mountains, they are textured. Neat. So, before we get into this hugely messy, complex part over here, I do kind of want to talk about the way this track is designed. So, this track in Mario Kart 64, does not track your position because there is a million different routes over here. But you may think it's super complex, and it kind of is for the first half of it, but really all these different routes do is lead you to this choke point right here. Once you get to this choke point, it's just a straight line over here, around here, past the egg of dreams, this gorgeous egg. Look at how cool this egg is. I don't know how it's spinning. I don't know where it got its momentum, but I love it. There's two gorgeous Yoshi flags across the bridge, up this kind of hill, to the finish line, and then all the way back around. Now, this whole messy, complex part is maybe only a little bit of the track. And there's a whole bunch of different routes, a whole bunch of different areas, and a little bridge over here. Unfortunately, they kind of screwed up the design because when you're met with this fork right here, every single path over here is slow. And most of the tracks over this way are also slow. Because since everything leads back to this one choke point, it means that when you actually look up at this, all of the different routes to that choke point are not necessarily the same length, and that a lot of them are just ridiculously long to the point of being kind of impractical. And that fact kind of ruins this track a little bit. Like, it's fun conceptually, and I like this idea, and I wish a different track tried it, but it's just not particularly well executed. Even just looking at this, you can see how long some of these routes are and how short some of them are. And it's just, some of these are completely unviable and kind of pointless. And I wish they weren't. I wish they were cool, but they're not. This whole track, such an interesting concept, such an interesting idea, but its execution, much like its, greenery, is just a little bit lame.